everyone, I am Avery Productions here, and today we're going to be ranking down my top 10 Thomas and Friends episodes. Before we get into this video, let's establish some ground rules. For one, each of the picks on this list is just my own opinion. This is an objective fact or ranked by fan consensus or popularity or anything like that. It's just my own opinion, so take this list with a grain of salt. And also, we are only going to be considering episodes from Thomas and Friends. We're not going to be considering any of the Thomas and Friends movies because I already made a full video on that. We're not going to be ranking down any episodes from All Engines Go either. So, with that out of the way, let's get on to this video. Number 10. Sleeping Beauty. I love Sleeping Beauty purely because of the wholesomeness of the scene with Sir Handel, Peter, Sam, and Duke reuniting. It's just, I can't really describe it. It's just so wholesome, and it's just so nice to see these characters all interact. It's just, it just really is very wholesome, and it's just so nice to watch them have fun talking to each other. Yeah. Music and visuals this episode are really good too. I always really like season 4's visuals. It's just super good, and it just looks so beautiful in this episode. I love all the bright colors here and warm and fuzzy. It just feels so nice. And I also really enjoyed the music of this episode. It's very good as well. The Skarloey Railway theme is a very classic theme, and I really like it. It could just be used in pretty much any situation. And yeah, this episode is just super fun, enjoyable, and very heartfelt. Number 9. Grandpuff. Grandpuff is actually the first part to Sleeping Beauty, so you pretty much have to watch the 2 episodes as it is a 2-parter. But yeah, both these episodes are really good. I was almost considering putting these 2 episodes in the same spot. However, since they are 2 separate episodes, I guess I did not do that. But yeah, this episode is just really good, and I really just love the music, and the atmosphere of this episode is really good. This was the first episode of season 4, and it shows off everything beautifully. And yeah, it just really is such a good opener to season 4. Another reason why I love this episode is just because of how sad it really is. Just seeing Duke just be shut in a shed and watching just it basically landslide over it, and Duke just straight up sitting in this shed. It's really sad. Like, can you imagine being Duke in this situation? Oh, it just is really sad. Well, I mean, at least in the next episode he gets out, but still, it is really, really devastating to watch Duke just get stuck in his shed for eternity, pretty much. And that's why this episode is really good. Number 8. Busy Going Backwards. This episode is on the list purely because of the runaway sequence. I like how fast-paced it is, and I love the amount of head-on shots there are with Toad. It's just very cool, and I think it really shows the impact of Toad going at a very high speed, and I think it's just really good at showing that. I really like the runaway theme they use here, particularly how they remixed the William Tell Overture into this, because previously in like seasons 1 and 2 they didn't really change the runaway theme. And yeah, for most of the seasons, they didn't change the runaway theme for the first 4 seasons. However, in this episode, they changed it to mix it with the William Tell Overture, and I think that was a very good choice, as it just makes it super exciting, and it feels way more cinematic that way. That's why this episode is on my top 10 list. Number 7. Bowled Out. This episode has a lot of nostalgia for me. I remember reenacting this with my take-and-play trains a lot as a kid. And yeah, it was very interesting, in fact. I just had this episode running on in the background, and I just moved my take-and-play trains around to match the scene here, and I think that was, yeah. And it's been a while since I've watched this episode, so it was delightful to rewatch this for this video, and I think it was just fun to watch. The reason why I like this episode is because how funny it is. I like how the Diesel just straight up fails after getting a bowler hat sucked up in his air intake. That's actually really funny, and I think it's just I always laugh when that happens, and the sound it makes too, it's pretty funny. I always laugh whenever I saw that scene. And just watching Duck and Stephanie just laugh in the background as the Diesel has that glaring face on, is just so hilarious to me, and I've always laughed at that scene. I really like the sequence of Duck and Stepney pulling the coaches across the island. It's just a really cool scene. I really like the visuals, the sound effects, the music. It's all a really good scene, and I really like watching it. It's super satisfying watching them basically go from point A to point B, and just, yeah, it's really cool, and I like the scene a lot. Why this episode was such a fan favorite of mine as a very young kid. Number 6. Toad Stands By. Oliver is my favorite Thomas character, so it is no surprise that this episode is on the list. And for a good reason. It is just so satisfying to watch Oliver just tear Scruffy apart after Scruffy mocking Oliver about his crash. Like, it feels so satisfying, and I really like that. It's just such a good conclusion to Oliver's arc, and even if we did get it a season late. Scruffy being torn apart is really satisfying, especially if you reverse the footage. It's just super cool how all those rocks fly out, and he just fully gets torn apart. A model prop just getting torn apart like that. It's just a really cool spectacle. And that's why this episode is one of my favorite episodes of Thomas and Friends. Number 5, By George. The main reason I have this episode in my top 5 is because of the crashes. The scene of Thomas crashing into the chicken barn is hilarious. And just absolutely wrecking a truck is just super funny. And I like how George causes all these crashes. It just shows how much of an a-hole he is. And it's just funny to see all the engine's reactions to this. And that's why this episode is in my top 5. Number 4, Horrid Lorry. What I really like about this episode is how the lorries are handled. And I really like the uniqueness of this idea. There hasn't really been a story like this before, or ever really since. We've never really seen the railway being took over by road to this extent, really. I mean, I guess it was kind of mentioned in Toby and the Stout Gentleman, but this is where it goes really far. This is where we actually see it on screen, and I think it's a really unique idea, and I like how they're sort of just, being a-holes to the engines, and their comeuppance in the end is well-deserved. Thomas Cynic made a great video on this episode, so go check that out if you haven't already. I'll leave a link in the description. In conclusion, I really like this episode because it does some good character work for Toby, Percy, and it brings a unique concept to the table that has never been done before or ever been done since. Number 3, All at Sea. All at Sea is an amazing episode because it tells such a great moral that it's good to be where you are right now, even if you have dreams to go beyond what you can accomplish. It's nice to have the things you have right now, and that's a really powerful message, and I think this episode visually is really good too. Visual Bloke Luke made a video on this episode already, so go check that out. If you haven't already, I'll leave a link in the description. In conclusion, All at Sea is an amazing episode, and I can completely understand why it is so beloved by fans. Number 2, Oliver Owns Up. This is a amazing character development episode for Oliver, and I think giving him a rather cocky character makes sense considering he escaped near death, and I think that would make anyone cocky. So yeah, and I like how he owns up to his mistakes in the end after getting into a wreck, thinking that he could tackle trucks because he thought he was invincible, but really he wasn't. And it just goes to show how great the morals the show can teach us, and that's why I really love this episode, because it's just a prime example, or another prime example of Thomas and Friends telling us great morals. Number 1, best episode of Thomas and Friends is Escape. How this episode ties in real world events into the story is just so, I guess, masterful in a way. I just really like that. I like the whole concept of dieselization and steam engines being scrapped, because that's what was happening when the story was originally written in the Railway series. And this is a great adaptation. I think this is even better than how they did it in the books. The music is incredible. The model work is stunning. I absolutely love the model work here. Particularly this shot here. This looks so nice. The reason why this is better than the original Railway series story is because I really like the scene at the beginning with Edward and Douglas, and how Edward tells Douglas how him and Trevor have a lot in common, and that is almost being scrapped. And I like how Douglas returns the favor while getting Oliver out, as in to say, yeah, we can't have you be scrapped, so might as well get another steam attraction because Trevor's not an engine in use again. In conclusion, Escape is my favorite Thomas and Friends episode because of how it ties in real world elements into this episode, and the production side of things, and how the story is set up and paid off, how it's set up at the beginning and pays off at the end, all in only 4 minutes and 30 seconds. That just shows you the charm of classic Thomas. And so that was it. That was my top 10 Thomas episodes, all from seasons 3 through 5, which I mean I wasn't really surprised about. Those are the 3 best seasons in the show. And yeah, I gotta say, this video did take a while to make, especially because I started school like the week before I posted this, or a couple days before, or I posted it, so, or when I am going to be posting this video, sorry, this is unscripted. So yeah, it's just been really stressful, so I'm glad I could get this done, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm super proud of this one. I think this might be a shorter video. It's either gonna be shorter than the movie ranking, or a little longer, or about the same time. Who knows? I think it is a very fun like project to do, to you know, kind of review all these episodes. And yeah, I don't know what video comes next to the channel, but I hope I have as much fun making this or making that video as I do with this one. And I thank you all for watching this video until the end. It really means a lot to me that you were able to sit through me talking about my favorite episodes of a silly talking train show with neon highlighter colored engines. Yeah, I think it really means a lot to me. It really helps me support, or it really helps me support the channel, helps you support the channel. You support the channel that way, support me that way by watching this video until the end. It really just warms my heart. And yeah, I hope to see you guys very soon in the next video, which I will make a community tab post on, which once I've decided it. Anyways, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye!